Today, working in the master shop. Got to get the skid steer ready for winter. First thing, drop your belly pan so that way you can clean out all the crud that's accumulated. Because if you don't clean it out, what's going to happen? The crap is going to keep vibrating around, eventually wear a hole in your plastic fuel tank. That'll cost you some big coinage. It can also, believe it or not, wear a hole in your metal oil pan. So that'll cost you some money too. So some cheap maintenance tips. Next thing we got to get done is we got to get these tracks off. You just got to undo these bolts and pull them out. Same. And you want to do this where you can get at it so you can punch them out. Next I got to put the boom up so I can get the tracks off. So I make sure you put your safety out to keep the boom up. Well, better get the hot rod out. Make some room. Now the tracks are off, they're lying out, now they can get serviced. Look at all that crap in behind that plate, eh? My hitchhikers for the car wash. Oh yeah, high on your list, make sure your radio works. Cause nothing's worse than not having a radio to play your FM 96. Pop out these panels too, so that way when you're power washing, you can get all in here and get all your crud blowing out and get it to drop out the bottom. Just watch your hoses and belts, your rad, the sensitive areas. Now the machine can sit here for the night and dry out. Put on all new filters. Put in new hydraulic fluid. This machine's got about 600, 700 hours on it, so it's got all new hydraulic fluid put in. Oil up the connections on your battery. New fuel filter. New inline filter, bigger than the factory one. Grease up your hubs. Got the hydraulic lines all greased up, so that way when the boom's going up and down and the vibration from the machine running, this grease will help make the hoses last longer. New air filters and the engine oil changed. Spray grease on all your latches. Check your antifreeze. Grease all your pins and bushings. Get your snowshoes on. Get your extra fuel capacity on board. Make sure all your lights work. Make sure your block heater works. Plug it in. When you plug it in, just listen and you'll hear it. And you'll know the noise. It almost sounds like when your kettle's starting to warm up, like a household kettle. You'll hear it. Just listen carefully, you'll hear it. Make sure your belts are good. The belts for the alternator, for the water pump. Just like your car, just check that stuff over, and if it looks a little frayed, put a new one on. You can always keep that old one for a spare for emergency. Your metal hydraulic lines, check them over. The machine does do a lot of vibration from the engine running, from the machine doing its work, just to check, make sure they're not cracked. You know, make sure they're not leaking at the fittings. It can happen too where something pinches the hydraulic lines, so just check them all over. And also too, you can put oil on them too, get them all protected against the weather. With your quick connects, clean them up and then oil them up so that way they're working good. Your hydraulic lines, check for any cuts, any frays. If there's any a wire shown through the hydraulic lines, change them. They're just going to give you nothing but trouble. Add some of this good stuff and you'll get through the winter.